All right. Hey, hi, everyone. A very good evening. I hope I'm clearly audible and visible to all of you. Let's have a quick hi in the chat. Put a hi if you can clearly see me and hear me properly, right? So hi. Okay. Hi Rishika. Hi Hari. Hi Riddhi. All right. Cool. So I hope everyone can hear me properly. Everyone can see me. Let's have a quick uh, 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 Q&A. So I hope you all have watched yesterday's session. So how many of you actually have attended day one also, and how many of you coming directly to day two? So have you, all of you have attended day one? I can recall few name from yesterday's session, but let me clearly have a chat with you that okay, how many of you have actually watched day one video, and did you practice what ma'am have taught yesterday? Again, good evening, ma'am. Good evening, guys. Okay, attended. Okay, great. It's good to see have you all back for today's session. So today is the day two of your Java bootcamp. uh I have attended. People who have attended day one, great to have you for day two as well, right? I hope you will have a informative session. No, ma'am, this is my second day. Sheetal, if you have not attended day one, make sure that after today's session you are going back and watching yesterday recorded recording as well, right? Cool. So, guys, I'm just here for a few minutes. I just wanted to mention few things to you. First of all, as you all know, people who have attended yesterday's session, you have to submit the assignment for day one, day two, day three. We will be giving the assignment for all the 3 days. Your assignment link is there in the description, so you can go to the description of your YouTube video and you can submit the assignment. We have received assignment from most of the students, but people who have not yet submitted it for day one, make sure you are submitting it uh, right. There is a deadline for the assignment, so you will be getting 1 week time. So you will be getting for submitting your day one, day two, and day three, all the days assignment, you will be getting 1 week time. But make sure you are doing it day by day, so you don't forget it, and you can just do it one by one, right? Submitted, Pratham submitted, great. So people who have already submitted, great. I hope you have scored good as well. But again, if people who have not submitted, make sure you are doing it. All right. So I'll just have a quick recap. Let me just share my screen. Okay, I'll just share it. Cool. Fine. So I hope you can watch my screen. You can go. My screen is visible to all of you. Sayed, 10 on a 10. Great if you have scored 10 on 10. All right. So this is your day two assignment link. Okay. All you have to do it. You have to click on this link, and it will take you to this page, right? So this is your day two question, guys. This is your day two question. Write a program to check whether a number is prime or not. So you have to write your name, you have to write your email ID, you have to write your mobile number, and then you have to paste your code over here. So whatever the editor you are using, VS Code or anything, you have to write your code by your own, and then you have to paste it over here, right? I hope I'm clear on this. uh, Mahi Patel, I have submitted but can't see the score. Mahi, you would have got replied on your email itself. So about the score, submitted, ma'am. Satya, people who have submitted, great guys, great. People who have not submitted, please do it by today. And this is your day two assignment question. I hope everyone can see your day two assignment question. So things ma'am gonna teach today, on that basis we have given you the day two assignment. Okay. So people who already don't know how to do all this, maybe you can just go through yesterday recording, go to today's recording, and you will be able to do this program. You will be able to write this program. Ma'am, I have attended day one, but Chandu, I don't think we have sent any attendance link. So if you have marked your attendance on the website, you are good to go. So people who have joined in today, people who have not there in yesterday's session, guys, you have to mark your attendance on the website. So for that, I'll just take you from the description itself. Okay, so you have your all-in-one doc where you all your notes, all your session links, everything is present. I'll just click on this link. It will open a Notion page, and all the details which is required for this bootcamp to be covered is being present over here. So this is your all 3 days assignment link. This is your attendance link. So you have to just click on that link, and you will, once you click on that link, it will be automatically open your day one, right? So all you have to do it, you have to go to the sessions, and you have to go to day two, and then you have to mark your day two attendance. All right, everyone clear? You have to mark your day two attendance from there. I hope everyone is clear. Apart from this, guys, any other doubt you have? I have already explained you how to see your attendance, how to right. So I have already mentioned how to mark your attendance and how you can access your assignment. You have to submit the assignment for all the 3 days. So these are the two major areas. I hope I'm clear on this. You can also post about this bootcamp on your social media, so on your LinkedIn or on your Instagram. You can just take a screenshot of the session. You can post it over there, right? Or if you're submitting your assignment, you can just write it down on your LinkedIn that okay, hey, I have done this assignment, or I have made this project, and you can just post it and tag Let's Upgrade. Submitted assignment, but name is not there in the WhatsApp group. So Mahi, we have sent the name of the students who have scored 10. So all the top, so that is the leaderboard, right? So all students who have scored 10, 10 out of 10, those names are being mentioned over there. So if your name is not mentioned in the WhatsApp, don't think like that. You have we have not received your assignment. Okay. Now only we should mark attendance. You can mark your attendance anytime, but make sure you are just marking it down, right? And you are submitting the assignment as well. So I will not taking much of your time now. I'll just hand over this session to your trainer. If you Meanwhile, if you have any doubts, anything, you can put it in the chat, and the moderators will reply. All right. So call your trainer, and make sure you have joined the WhatsApp group, guys, because all the updates we do send it in the WhatsApp. So make sure you are there. If you are coming and this is your day two, make sure you have registered for the program, and you have joined the WhatsApp group. And let's call your trainer. So I'll just quickly add Neelam ma'am. Hello ma'am.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good evening.
Yeah, so I'm handling over the session to you now. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for having me, guys.
Hello everyone. So initially we will quickly revise whatever topics we have done yesterday. If you have any doubts, we will be covering that as well, and then we will move to the today's topics. So yesterday we had learned the installation part. Then we understood how do we execute programs in Java. Then we went ahead with the fundamentals, like how the Java programs become platform independent, and how do we structure the code in Java, like how the program structure looks like. Okay, initially we need to create the class, then within that class we have a main method, which is the entry point of the program execution, right? And whatever code we add into that main method, that ideally gets executed, right? So that all we have covered yesterday. Uh, very before, like any doubts from previous session, we covered variable declaration as well. Along with that, we cover the arrays part. We cover taking user input as well. Any doubts till that? Were you able to do the assignment part? Any doubts in the assignment? It was like very basic question, right? You were supposed to develop the calculator. So simply you will take user input over there. Let's say you want to take two numeric values as an input. So you will accept those two values as an input from the user. Then you will be carrying out all the operations, right? Addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. If you want, you can take that operation as well as an input from the user, right? So were you all able to do that? Okay. Very nice. I can see that you all were able to do that. And lot of you have covered 10 on 10. That's very good. Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay, let me quickly share the screen. Hmm. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Is my screen visible to you? Am I clearly audible and visible to you? Okay. Yeah, someone was asking doubt. You can post in the chat. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay, so someone is asking how JVM works. Okay, we will quickly recall that. So can you quickly answer one of my question like how Java programs become platform independent? We have discussed this yesterday, right? How does our Java program becomes platform independent? You can reply in the chat. Someone is asking how do you remember so much? So it's about doing everything practically. Okay, it's not like you don't have to remember everything. Once you will practice the things, once you will code more and more, you don't have to remember everything. By default, that syntax you will get used to it, and you will get so much joy when you will solve problems practically. Okay, yeah. So using JVM, but ideally there is a bytecode, right? Due to bytecode, the Java programs ideally become platform independent, right? Yeah, you will get the notes. Don't worry. You will get all the notes about the topics we have covered, okay? Yeah. So as I said, initially we write the program in .java file. So our Java code will be added into the .java file. So here compiler do the work of compiling this program. So what is compiling ideally means? So ideally it will check for all the errors. Okay, it will compile your code, and if there are any errors in the program, then you will get the summary of those errors. Okay, so here Java compiler comes into the picture. Okay, and compiler will ideally compile your program, and compiler itself is responsible to generate the bytecode. Okay, and compiler will create the class file ideally, and this class file is nothing but your bytecode. And this bytecode is platform independent because it's a binary code, right? And all the operating system all the machines, we could say, they are aware about the binary language as we humans are aware about language like English, Hindi, Marathi. Likewise, machines understand binary language. Okay, so this binary code is platform independent. Okay, now this binary code is given as an input to JVM. Okay, so JVM is nothing but Java Virtual Machine. So this JVM is then responsible to execute your program. So whatever bytecode is there in your dot class file, that is executed by the help of JVM. Okay, so JVM, how JVM will execute your code? It will first check out for the main method. Okay, so wherever it will find main method, accordingly it will start the execution of the program, and whatever you have added into the main method will get executed. Okay. Other than JVM, there are two components at high level. Okay, JVM is ideally the part of JRE, and JRE is part of JDK. We have installed JDK at the start, right? And I had told that as well, like we require JDK for the execution of Java programs. Without JDK, we cannot execute Java programs. So it's a development kit. It contains uh, kind of full-fledged kit which is required for executing your Java program. Okay. So JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment, and JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. So JVM is in JRE and JRE is in JDK. So let me quickly show you the diagram of it. Uh, yeah. So as I said, at high level, we have, okay, at high level, we have JDK. Within JDK, there is JRE, and within JRE, there is JVM. Okay, so JVM is responsible for execution of the program. So along with JVM, we require some external libraries as well, right? During program, we may require external libraries, external packages. So those are there in JRE. Okay, so additional things which are required. So those are part of JRE. So JVM along with those packages and external libraries and all will form JRE, Java Runtime Environment. And at the top of this, there is JDK, which is Java Development Kit. Okay, so do remember this sequence. JVM is Java Virtual Machine, which is responsible to execute our code. And on the top of it, there is JRE, that is Java Runtime Environment, which ideally include external libraries and classes, which will be required during the program execution. And at the top level, there is JDK, which is development kit. It is kind of a full-fledged kit which provides you everything which is required for the development and execution of your Java programs. Okay, yeah. So that we have covered yesterday. Then we understood how do we write a code in Java. Very first, we have to create the class that will be in the like class name will be in the Pascal case. Then within that class, we declare a main method. Okay. While declaring any method, ideally we follow camel case. Then we understood some primitive and some non-primitive data types. Okay, do you remember the difference between primitive and non-primitive? I was saying that few of the data types are primitive and few of them were non-primitive. So what was the difference between primitive and non-primitive? You can respond in the chat. Can you give some examples of primitive data type and non-primitive data types? Which were primitive data types and which were non-primitive data types? Correct. Int, byte, long. Yeah. So those are the primitive ones. Okay. And data types like string, class, array, interface, those are non-primitive ones. Okay. Primitive ones are the simple basic data types. Those are not composed of other data types. Okay. And non-primitive ones are the complex ones. They are ideally they are composed of objects. Okay, so we studied that as well. The examples of non-primitive ones were string, class, interface, and arrays. Do you remember what were arrays? Why do we need arrays? We covered arrays as well, right? What were arrays? Why do we need arrays? To store character, to store value. Okay, correct. So whenever we want to store multiple values of same data type, we declare the array. Instead of declaring 10 different variables, what do? We create the array of that data type. So that instead of declaring individual variables, we will refer them with the help of array. Okay, and what do we use to access the array elements? We use indexes, right? And indexes start from which position? Let's say I am declaring the array of size 10. So what will be the index range? They will start and end from which position? Right. The start index would be 0 and the end index would be 9. Correct. Very good. Okay. Okay. We had also covered to take user input as well, right? How do we take user input in Java? What is the prerequisite to accept user input? How do we accept user input in Java? We need scanner class, right? So scanner class is used to accept user input. And is it by default imported in the program? We have to manually import it, right? Whenever we need to use that scanner class, we will be importing it. And it belongs to which package? Do you remember the package name? Util, correct, correct. So scanner class belong to util package. So whenever we require to use scanner class, we need to import that package from the we need to import that class from the util package. Okay, let's go ahead with the today's topics then. I think you all are like very clear with the yesterday's topics. Do you have any more doubts? We can cover them as well. Yesterday we missed one part, which was operators. So there are multiple operators we require when we deal with multiple operations in Java. We need the help of operators to do those operations ideally. Okay. So in Java there are multiple types of operators. Few of them are arithmetic, we have logical, we have relational, we have assignment. Okay, so we will be going to study all the operators one by one. Okay, so arithmetic operator by the name itself you are understanding, right? They will be ideally helping us for the arithmetic operations, mathematical operations, right? So in arithmetic operators we ideally have plus, minus, multiply and divide. Along with that, we have modulus operator as well. Okay, so modulus operator is ideally used to get the remainder. Okay, it will give us the remainder after division. Okay, then yeah, then in logical, we have like when we want to combine multiple conditions together. Let's say, let's say I need to verify some data, and there I have two, three conditions to verify. So there I need to join those conditions, right? So for joining multiple conditions, we have logical operators. Okay, we use and or. Okay, we will study how and works and how or works. Okay, so ideally, when we want all the conditions to be true, we use and operator. And if we want any of them to be true, we use or operator. Okay, so in case of and, all the conditions should be satisfied. All the conditions should be satisfied. Okay, and in case of or, any of them should be satisfied. Any of the condition. It means if I have two condition, then at least one condition should be true. Okay. Both cannot be false. At least one of them to be true. Has to be true. Okay. Any of the condition should satisfy. At least one should be true. Okay. We can say at least one condition should be satisfied. Okay. Then we have relational and assignment operators. Relational operators are ideally used to find out the relation between two values. Let's say I want to check whether one value is greater than another value, then I will use greater than operator. Then if I want to check if it is less than something, then I will use less than operator. Okay. Then we have greater than equal to, less than equal to, we have equal to, and we have not equal to as well. Okay. Assignment operators are used to assign the values. We will see how do we use them. We have increment decrement operator as well. Someone said increment decrement. So ideally, to increment the value, we use increment operator. To decrement the value, we use decrement operator. Okay, let's quickly use them in the program. Or let's say operator. I'm just saving this code example. So this code will be saved with .java extension, and here also you will select Java and save this code. Yeah. So by default it created the class for us. Okay. So this program you may have already done, right? As you have given the calculator operation as an assignment, you may have already done that, right? Yeah. So let us first declare the main method. Yeah. So let's say yeah, I will ideally accept two numeric value as an input from the user, and I will perform the other operations on those values. Okay. So how can we accept the user input? We have to import the scanner class. Import java.util.scanner. Yeah. So we have to use this scanner class. We will first create the object of it. We use new keyword to create the object in Java. Here we need to pass system.in. Okay. Yeah. Now I want to accept two numeric values from the user. Okay. So let's say num1. So here I will use which method? sc.nextInt because it's a numeric value. Similarly, I will accept second value as well. Yeah. Again, I will use the same object which I have created over here, sc.nextInt. So yeah, we accepted two values from the user, and now we can use this arithmetic operators to perform the operations. Okay, so let's say I want to do multiplication of these two numbers. So yeah, either you can declare another variable to store multiplication, or you can directly do it in the output statement as well. Num1 multiply by num2. Yeah, let's use it in the output statement. We have to use out.println. We are just printing the output, right? So we will use out.println over here. Yeah. So multiplication is, and we will use plus operator. Okay. So let's run this code. How do we run the program in Java? How we were executing the code? How should I run this code? Which commands should I give? You can respond in the chat. Yeah, how should I run this code? I have to give two commands, right? First one will be for compiling the code, and another will be for execution. Correct. Java C will be for compilation. Java C file name along with extension. So over here, my file name is operators example. So this file name along with extension I have to give. Okay. So this will compile the program. So see, once my program is compiled, here dot class file is created. I did not created it manually. Right. Compiler has created it for me. Okay. Now I will run the code with the command java and the file name. Here I don't have to provide the extension. Okay. Yeah. So it is waiting over here to accept the user input. So it gave me the output accordingly. So this operator will ideally multiply these two values. Okay. Let's say I want to divide them. So simply I will use division operator. This one is new for you, right? So this one is for getting the remainder. It will ideally divide two numbers and will give you the remainder. So if I rerun this code, I have to change the message as well, right? Mo- So this operator is giving me remainder. Let me rerun. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we will first execute the javac command. Yeah. Now I will run the another command. Creators example. So I have to provide two values. So let's say 7 and 5. So it will divide 7 by 5 and the remainder is ideally 2, right? So that's why it gave me the remainder as 2. So this operator ideally gives you the remainder. Don't get confused with this operator. This gives you the remainder. Okay. So this 5 are the arithmetic operation. You will use them for the mathematical operations. Okay. Then moving on to the relational and logical operators. But before that, we will first study the conditional statements and then we will move on to the logical and relational operators. Okay. Okay. So ideally, whenever you want to verify something, whenever you have some condition to verify, we have to use conditional statements. Okay. There we have some condition and we execute the code based on the true or false value of that condition. Okay. So if it returns true value, then only we execute that particular code. Okay. So for that we give condition over there. So there are multiple conditional statements available in Java. So first one is if condition. Okay. So how do we specify the if condition? The syntax is you have to mention if. Then in the round brackets you need to specify the condition. Okay. So whatever prerequisite condition you want over here, you will specify it. And then within the curly bracket, you give the code which you want to execute if this condition is true. So this code will only be executed if the condition is true. Okay. If you have suitable extension, is can you yeah, you can use the run button as well if you have extension pack for Java. I told that extension on the previous day. So yeah, if you have downloaded that extension, then you don't have to give this commands every time. I'm just giving it every time so that it you will be able to remember it. Okay. Okay, let's move to the conditional statement. Again, we will save it with .java extension. Okay. Okay. So let's say in my code, I want to I'm developing a voting system, and I want to give the access of it to the ones who are having age greater than 18. Okay, so it became my prerequisite over here, right? If the age is greater than 18, then only I will allow the access. Okay, or then only I will allow them to do some operation, right? So how we can specify that? So we have to give if condition. We have to specify if keyword. Then we need to give the condition over here. So let's say before that, let's declare the variable age. How do we declare it? We have to first give the data type, then the name of the variable, and if you want user input, you can accept the user input. For now, I'm just giving some random value to it. Okay. Then you will declare the condition over here. So the prerequisite is age should be greater than 18. If it is greater than 18, then only I will allow the user to do some operation. Or I will just, for now, I will just print out the message that you are eligible to vote. Okay. Eligible. Okay. So that's how we declare if condition. Okay. So we have to mention if, then we need to give the condition, and then within the curly bracket, we have the code to be executed. Okay. So here there was only one line of code. So if that is the scenario, you can even skip this curly brackets. Okay. These curly brackets are not mandatory if you have only one line of code. Okay. But if you have more than one line to be executed, then you have to enclose this code within the block. You have to give curly brackets mandatorily. Okay. Let's say I have one more line. Please proceed. So here there are two lines to be executed. So we have to enclose it within the curly brackets. Okay. So if I will run this code, yeah, first I will compile it, then I will execute it. Okay. We have to compile this code, na? We have to change the command Java C. The name of the class is conditional example dot Java. Mm-mm, dot Java. I made a spelling mistake. Sorry. Okay. So this will compile the code. Then we have to give Java conditional example. So that will run the code. So yeah, here we have given age as 20. So that's why it first verify the condition whether the age is greater than 18 or not. So here the condition was satisfied. So that's why it executed those two lines. Okay. So this code is totally dependent on the true value of this condition. If it is true, then only these lines of codes will be executed. Okay. If it is false, then it will skip the execution of these two lines and it will directly move to the next part which you have given after this block. Okay. So let's say if I will change this age to 15, and if I will rerun this code, yeah, so I didn't got any output because here the age is equal to 15, which is not satisfying the condition, right? The condition is not returning true over here. 15 is not greater than 18. So that's why these lines of code are not executed. Okay. So wherever we want to verify some condition and we have some code dependent on it, we use if condition in that scenario. Okay. So let's say there is another construct in Java which is if else. First one was if. There is one more construct which is if else. So what is the syntax for declaring if else? We have to give if, then we need to specify the condition. Then here there will be some lines which will be depended on that if block. Then we have a else block. Okay. So let's say we want to execute something if this condition is false. Okay. So that's why we have this optional else block. So in the first scenario, we don't want it to execute anything if the condition is not true. So that's why we just give if block over there. But in this scenario, if this condition is false, then I want to execute something. So that's why we give the else block. So how the execution will happen? Very first, it will check for this condition. If it is true, then this block of code will be executed. If it is false, then it will jump to the else block and whatever we have given in the else block that will be executed. Okay. So at a time, either if will be executed or else will be executed. Okay. So it totally depends on this condition. If this condition is true, then if block will be executed. And if it is false, then else block will be executed. Okay. In the first construct, there was no else block. There was only if block. Okay. But over here, we want else block as well so that it can handle the false scenario as well. Okay. So let's say I want to display that you are not eligible to vote if the condition is false. Okay. So I will mention else block over here and I will give the respective statement. Okay. So you are not eligible to vote. So what will happen in this scenario? It will first verify the condition. So the condition is age greater than 18. The value of age over here is 15. So 15 is not greater than 18. So ideally it will move to the else block. And whatever is there in the else block that will be executed. Okay. If it is true, then if block will be executed. But if it is false, then else block will be executed. Okay. Let's run this code. Yeah, we have compiled the code. We will execute it. So see, you see. So the age is 15 in this scenario. That's why the else block got executed, and what we have added into the else block, you are not eligible to vote. So that's why the same message is printed over here. If I change the age, let's say I make it 20, and if I re-execute the code, okay, I have not compiled it. Very first, I will compile the code, then I will run it. So, see, I have got the output as you are eligible to vote. Please proceed. Okay, so that's how we can verify the conditions. Okay, we can execute the code conditionally. Okay, based on the code, based on the condition, we can associate the execution of our code. So these were the two constructs, if and if else. If we will use when we have a single condition to be verified and we don't want any optional else block. Okay, we will use if else when we want optional else block as well. Okay, so when this condition would be false, it will jump to the else block and whatever is there in the else block that will get executed. Okay. There is one more construct, like let's say here we were having only one condition, right? But what if there are three, four conditions? Okay. What if there are three, four separate conditions which I need to verify? So for that we have if, else if, else if, else if construct. Okay. We can mention as many conditions as required. Okay. So very first we will give our first condition. Then we will give the code which is dependent on that condition. Okay. Then we will have else if block. Here we will mention another condition. Then again there will be some code which will be dependent on that particular condition. Then we can have another else if block. So likewise we can give any number of conditions. Okay. And at the end we will have an optional else block which will execute if none of the condition is satisfied. Okay. So how the execution will happen in this scenario? very first it will check for the first condition. It will verify whether it's true. If it is true, then it will execute the lines of code within that condition. If it is not, then it will move to the second block and it will verify the condition you have given over here. Okay. If it is true, then this code will be executed, or else it will move to the next condition. Likewise, it will verify all the conditions one by one. And if none of them is true, it will move to the end block with like last else block. Here we don't give any condition. Okay. So this block will ideally be executed if none of the condition is satisfied. So we also rightly said we call it else if ladder as well. Okay. So one by one it will verify the conditions, and wherever it will find the matching condition, that block of code will be executed. And if none of the condition is satisfied, the last else block will be executed. Okay. Let's see some example of it. Let's say based on the marks, we want to assign the grade to the student. Okay. Uh, okay. So, yeah. So let's say we are accepting the marks from the user. We are checking those marks lie in which range, and based on that range, we assign the grade to the student. Okay. So for that, we will have different ranges, right? We will need to verify different conditions in that scenario. Okay. So one by one, we will verify the conditions, and wherever it matches, we will execute that code. Okay. So let's first declare the marks of students. I'm just declaring a variable for storing the marks. Okay. We can even accept it from the user. Let's accept it from the user for this time. We will import the scanner class for the same. Uh, yeah. So we have imported the scanner class. We will create the object of the scanner class. You can give any name to the object. Huh? It's not like we are using SC, so you will use SC only. Okay, you can give any name to the object. Here you need to pass system.in as a parameter. Okay, so that's how we will create the object of scanner class, and here we will use it to accept the marks from the user. Okay, we can give some message as well over here so that the user will be clear like what kind of input we are accepting over here. Okay, so enter total marks to check grade. Okay, so that's the prompt I have added over here. Total marks, yeah, enter total marks to check grade. Okay, so we will accept this from the user, and we are assigning the value to the marks variable. Okay, now one by one we will check this marks lie into which range, and accordingly we will display it on the screen. Okay, so if student is having marks which are greater than 90, it means he or she has scored very good marks, right? We should give him the grade as A. A plus, let's see. We will give him A plus. Why we use dot operator? So ideally, dot operator is used to access the attributes and methods belonging to that class. So over here, the scanner class belongs to the package java.util. Okay. So anything within that package or within that class, if you want to access it, we need dot operator. So this println method is ideally belonging to this out class. There are the predefined classes and packages, and we are accessing the functions within those classes. So that's why we need to specify the dot operator. Okay. Okay. So if marks are greater than 90, we will print the grade as A. But if marks are between 90 and let's say 75, then the grade will be, let's say, A, right? So else if we need to specify the range. So here I have two conditions, right? Marks less than 90 and greater than 75. Marks less than 90 and marks greater than 75. So let's say less than equal to 90. And here we need to merge two conditions. So we use and operator. So as I told you, right, we have logical operators in Java. We have two operators ideally and an OR. So both are used to combine multiple conditions together. Okay. When you use and, we say that both the conditions should be satisfied. Okay. And when we say or, we say either of them should be satisfied. Okay. So here we want both the conditions should be satisfied. Okay. So that's why we have used and operator greater than 75. Okay, so if the marks of the students are between this range 90 and 75, then we will print the grade as A. Okay, so yeah, here we have used AND operator to merge two different conditions. And what are these operators? These are relational operators, right? We have given less than equal to, then this is greater than. So here we are checking the relation between two values. Either it is greater, either it is smaller. So that's why they are known as relational operators. Okay. So and or are logical operators, and when we compare two values, we use relational operators. So greater than, less than, equal to, not equal to, all those are relational operators. Okay, so let me add some more conditions as well. Let's say the marks are between 75 and 60. The grade will be B in that scenario. Okay, we can say grade A instead of just A plus. We will give grade A plus, and over here grade A. Okay, so here the range will be between 75 and 60. So marks less than equal to 75 and marks greater than 60. So for this thing, we will print grade B. So here we are like verifying multiple conditions. Okay. So grade B. Yeah. And if the marks are between 60 and 50, we will, let's say 60 and 45, we will give grade C. And below that, we will give grade D. And below that, we will just print fail. Okay. So I'm quickly adding all those conditions. If marks less than equal to 60 and marks greater than, let's say, 40, then we will display grade C. Yeah, so likewise, you can mention any number of conditions. There is no restriction on that. Okay, 40 and 35, uh, greater than equals to 35, grade D. And if none of the condition is satisfied, we will simply display fail. Else fail. Okay. Yeah. So we are accepting the total marks from the user. Then we are checking the marks are lying into the which range. If they are greater than 90, we are simply displaying the grade as A plus. If they are between 90 and 75, we are displaying the grade as A. Okay. And if they are between 60 and 75, we are giving the grade B. If they are between 40 to 60, we are giving grade C. If likewise we have given lot of grades and none of the condition is satisfied, it means the marks are below 35, right? That time we are giving fail. Okay. Yeah. So likewise in the else if ladder we can mention as many conditions required. And if none of the condition is satisfied, it executes this else part. Okay, it one by one verifies the condition and whatever is satisfying, it will execute the block of code within that condition. And if none of them is satisfied, it will move to this last else block and whatever is there in the else block that gets executed. Okay, let's run our code. So you can directly run it from this play button or you can use those two commands to run the code. So we have to give total marks. So let's say the total marks are 78. So we got grade A over here, which is correct, right? As per our condition, it lies into this range between 90 to 75. So that's why we have got grade A over here. Okay. Uh, let's say if I give marks as 95, then I'm getting the grade as A plus. Okay. Let's say if I give 30 as a marks, then it's giving me fail because none of the condition is satisfying in this scenario, right? So one by one it will verify the conditions. None of them is matching in this scenario. So that's why it executed the last else block. Okay. Is it clear? Have you understood all three conditional statements? First one was if. Second one was if else. And this one is if else if. We also called it as else if ladder. Have you understood all three constructs? Okay, good, good. Okay, nice. Okay. Let's see one example for OR operator as well. We have used AND operator over here. Na? AND operator ideally gives the true value if all the conditions are true. Right. We have like if all the conditions are satisfying, then only it returns true value. And OR operators gives true value if any of the condition is true. Right. Let's say if I want to check whether the number is divisible by 2 or if it is greater than 10. Okay. So I want to check whether the number is even. Whether uh, uh, whether check number is even or it is greater than 20. So I need to check whether the number given by the user it is even or not or it is greater than 20 or not. Okay. So very first I will accept some user input. Okay. So I'm declaring a variable for the same. In num, we will use the object of the scanner class we have created. So we have created the object S, right? We will use this object over here. So sc dot next int. Yeah. So we will display some message as well. Enter the number. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we need to verify whether the number is even or not. How can we verify whether the number is even? I need to check whether the number is even or not. How can we do that? When do we call the number as even? If it is divisible by 2, right? So how we can verify the same over here? Numbers in 2 equals to 0. Very correct. Okay. So we have to divide the number by 2 and we have to check the remainder. If the remainder is 0, it means it is even. Any number which is divisible by 2 is even, right? So we will do the same thing over here. Num percent 2 equals to 0. So this operator will give us the remainder. Okay. And which operator is this? It is relational operator. We are checking whether the remainder is 0 or not. Okay. If we use single equal to, it means we are assigning value. And if we use double equal to, it means we are verifying the value. Okay. There is a difference between these two operators. Okay. This is relational operator which verifies, and this is like we are assigning the value. Okay. So if this condition is satisfied, it means the number is even. We want to verify one more condition, whether the number is greater than 20. Okay. Either of them should be true. So that's why we will use or over here. Okay. Or num greater than 20. Okay. So these are two conditions. Now we have combined those two conditions with the help of a or operator. So or operator will check like either of the condition should be true in case of or, right? So even if this condition is true, then only this will execute the block of code, and even if this condition is true, it will execute the block of code. Okay. So let's say if I print number, I want to print the value of the number. So I will use number is even or it is greater than. Now I will just close it. Yeah, greater than 20. Okay, so let me run this code, enter the number. So let's say if I give 7, so it did not executed anything because none of the condition was satisfied over here, right? 7 was not equal to, sorry, it was not divisible by 0. Sorry, it was not divisible by 2. It was not giving us the remainder 0. And it was even not greater than 20. So both the conditions were not satisfying in this scenario. So that's why it did not printed anything. Okay. So now I will give some another value. Let's say, uh, uh, let's say 25. Okay. So, so 25 is even or it is greater than 20. We got the output. Why we got the output? So first condition was not satisfying because 25 is not divisible by 2. But the second one is satisfied in this scenario. 25 is greater than 20, right? And in case of or, at least one condition should be true. So here one condition was satisfying. That's why this code block got executed. Okay. So that's the difference between and or operator. In case of and, all the conditions should be true. And in case of or, at least one of the conditions should be true. Okay. Okay, someone is asking what is the difference between equal to and triple equal to. So both of them are relational operators. Okay, double equal to will verify the value. Okay, and see, let's say if I am giving a condition as 2 equal to 2. So this is ideally true, right? True is 2 is always equal to 2. So double equal to we use to compare the values. Okay. So I'm just giving random example. Okay. 2 is always equal to 2, right? So double equal to ideally compares the values. Yeah, I gave 67 over here and triple equal to. Let me add another if condition so that you won't get confused. Uh, yeah, let me change the message as well. 2 equals 2. Okay. For now, I don't want to execute other lines of code. So what can I do for the same? Let's say I don't want to execute this whole code. What can I do? How can I do that? I don't want to execute above lines of code. So simply what can I do? I can comment it out, right? So that it won't be executed. So for now, I'm just commenting other lines of codes. Yeah, we can comment till here. So 2 will always be equal to 2. So the condition is satisfied over here. So the code block will be executed. Okay. But let's say if I have this 2 within the code. So ideally this 2 is now a string value, right? Uh, or let's say if I have it in single quotes. So this is integer value and this is character value, right? I'm comparing integer with character. So let's run this code now. So did it give me true value? Did my condition satisfied? No, right. So ideally it check like even if the values look similar, the data type of them is different. Okay. So in Java, we don't have two different operators. In JavaScript, we do have two different operators to verify data type as well as value. Okay. In case of JavaScript, double equal to verifies only values and triple equal to verifies the data type along with value. Okay. So if we would have used double equal to in case of JavaScript over here, it would have given us the true value because it did not check the data type. But if we would have given triple equal to, we would get the false value because triple equal to checks the data type along with the value. Okay. In Java, we don't have two different operators. We have double equal to only. And this double equal to verifies the data along with the data type. So even if these values look similar to you, they are different, right? This is char value, this is int value. Okay. So if I'm running this code, this condition will not be satisfied because those are two different values. Okay. If I will remove this quotes from from here, it will be true and it will execute the code. Okay. So don't get confused. Just remember that we have one operator which is equal to. Equal to will be used to check two values are equal or not. And we have another operator which is not equal to, which will verify whether two values are not equal. Okay. So equal to we will use to compare two values which are equal and not equal to we will use to compare two values which are not equal. Okay. Clear till here. Okay. Let's move ahead. Yeah, I was explaining OR operator. So OR operator says at least one condition has to be true, and operator says at least not at least all the conditions should be true. Okay, just adding a note for the same. So in case of and, all the conditions should be true, as I previously also mentioned. All the conditions should be true. And in case of OR, at least one condition should be true. So wherever there will be requirement where you want at least one condition should be true, you will use or in that scenario. And if you want all the conditions should be true, then you will use and operator for concatenating multiple conditions. Okay. And we use relational operators to check relation between the values. Okay. Greater than, small than, equal to, not equal to. Okay. So this three constructs we use for the conditional thing. We have one more concept of a switch case. Uh, so ideally we use switch case whenever switch case is also alternative to if else if ladder. Okay, if you want to compare one data with multiple values, in that scenario we use switch case. Okay, so yeah, let's say I have a string value. Let's say I'm storing a day in a variable and base I will check like what value that variable holds, and accordingly I want to display the message. Okay, so let's say string, I have a variable day, okay, and some value will be stored into this variable. So let's say Monday. Okay, so if I want to compare this value with multiple values, okay, I want to check whether this day is Monday, Tuesday. So here I have hard coded it, but let's say user is giving it as an input, okay, and I want to compare it with multiple cases. So in that scenario, instead of if else if, you can even use the switch case. Okay, how do we declare a switch case? We have to use switch, then we see. So that's the benefit of intelligence, right? It will auto complete your code. Okay, but for now I want to explain you, so we can remove this for now. Okay, we declare switch, then we specify the expression which we want to compare. Okay, so here I want to compare day value with multiple values, so I will pass day over here. Okay, so I will compare day with multiple days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Okay. So we have to declare cases for the same. Okay. Case 1, case 2, case 3. Likewise, we declare all our cases. Okay. So let's say my first condition is Monday itself. So if the value is Monday, then I will display it's a Monday. It's Monday. Okay. Likewise, we declare multiple cases. So it's kind of alternative to your else if ladder. Okay, we have a value, we compare that value with multiple other values. Okay, and we use case for the same. So first case was Monday. So ideally this value will be compared with all your cases. So here my first case is Monday itself. Then let's say I have another case which is Tuesday. So here also you can give the output that you want to print. Okay, let's say it's Tuesday. So likewise, you can declare all the cases. So I will have like 5 different cases. Okay. After every case, after code block of every case, you mention break over here. So what does this break do? So break will ideally break the execution. It will not move ahead to check remaining cases. Once it will found the matching case, there it will execute the code block which belongs to that case, and it will break the execution. It means it will not go ahead to check the remaining cases. There itself the execution will stop. Okay. The remaining cases will not be verified ideally. Okay. So that is the use of break. It will save the execution time, right? We don't have to keep on verifying for the remaining cases if we found a similar case, right? So that's how it works. Yeah. So you can give as many cases as you want. Okay. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and let's say Friday. Mm. Okay. So we have declared multiple cases over here. So in case of else if ladder, there was a else block at the end, right? And at the else block was executing if none of the block got executed, if none of the condition was true. So similar will be the scenario over here. It will one by one verify each and every case, and if it found somewhere the relevant case, it will execute the code which we give it within that case. And after it executes, it will break the execution. It will not go to verify the remaining cases. There itself, it will stop the execution of this switch block. Okay, but what if none of the case matches? Okay, then we have a default block. So this default block will be executed if none of the case is satisfied. Okay, so So that's how the switch case is alternative to your if else if ladder. Okay. But ideally, you will use switch case when you want to compare. You cannot give conditions over here. So here you were able to specify conditions, right? But in switch case, you can only compare the value with the case values. Okay, you mention multiple case values, and your original value will be compared with those case values, and accordingly it will execute the block of code which is relevant to it. And if none of the case matches, it will go to the default block, and whatever is there in the default block that gets executed. Okay, yeah. So let's say if I just mention non-working day over here. So yeah. So how will this code be executed? Do remember the syntax. How do we write a switch case in Java? We have to first, let me just zoom it a bit. Yeah. So very first we have some value. We want to compare that value with multiple case values. Okay. So for that we use switch case. So you have to pass one expression which will be ideally compared with all the case values. Okay. So here we have passed the day as an expression. So this day will be compared with case 1, case 2, case 3. Okay. And wherever it matches, it will execute that code. So here our first case itself is matching, right? So this block of code will be executed, and there itself it will break this switch case execution. So it means it will not go ahead to verify the remaining conditions. Okay. Further cases will not be verified. There itself it will stop the execution of the switch case. Okay. But let's say none of the case is matching. It did not found any of the matching case. So that time what will happen? The default code will be executed. We have to give one default case. Here you will not specify any case, okay? This is default block, okay? So the default block will be executed when none of the case is true, okay? And here you don't have to give break because it's a last statement of your switch case, right? There are no more statements to be verified further. So there is no need of break over here, okay? So that's how we can declare the switch case in Java. Okay, let's run this code. How can we run it? We can give Java C. We have to specify the file name along with extension. Conditionals. File name is conditionals. Okay. Then we have to mention the file name uh, without the extension. Okay. So see, it printed it is Monday because here it found the matching case, right? It compared this value with the case. And here it found the matching case. That's why it executed the code block which is there in that case. Okay, let's try with some other value. Let's see for Wednesday. Okay, let me rerun this code. Yeah. So we got this output over here because this value was matching with this condition. Okay, so that's why it printed this line of code. Okay, let me try with Saturday. So Saturday we have not added somewhere. We have not specified any case for Saturday. So what will happen in that scenario? It will go to the default block, and whatever is there in the default block will be executed. So let me try for Saturday over here. Let me rerun. So see, it printed non-working day. Okay. So that's how the code executes in the switch case. Okay. One by one, it will compare all the cases, and wherever it will find. So there is one difference, right? We were not mentioning break anywhere in the if else block. But in switch case, we include break. So wherever it founds the break, there itself it will stop the execution of this switch case. It will not go ahead to check for the remaining cases. Okay. Let's say if it founds the matching case over here, Wednesday. So it will not check the remaining cases like Thursday and Friday. Okay. It will execute this line of code and it will stop the execution of this switch statement. Okay. And if none of the case satisfies, it will move to the default block and whatever is there in the default block will be executed. Okay. Have you understood how does this switch case executes? We have not we have not yet covered the topic of functions. So yeah, we will be covering that. So yeah, it's better to discuss it later, right? Once we will cover it up, right? Yeah. So let's go topic by topic. Okay, we will be covering everything. So don't worry about it. Okay, we will understand what is return keyword, how do we return the value with the help of function. Okay, so don't worry about it. Okay. Okay, so switch case is understood by everyone. Okay, okay, it's good. So that's how conditional statements help us in Java. Whenever we have the code which is dependent on some another code, that time we want to verify some condition, then only we want to execute some block of code. That time we will use conditional statements. Okay, and when we want to join multiple condition, we can either use and or. Okay, and what's the difference between and or? What was the difference between and or? I can't see your chats. So as I said, we can either use and to combine two conditions or we can use or, right? What was the difference between them? And means both should be true, or means either should be true. Correct, correct. Okay, we are left with one more topic of the for today, which is loops. We will quickly cover that. Okay, let me create the new file for the same. Correct, correct. And means both should be true, right? Okay, so what do you understand by the word loop? What is loop ideally? Loop means something repetitive, right? Something is executing and executing. That's called as a loop, right? So in our program, there may be the scenario when we want to execute something multiple times, right? So that time we can declare the loops. We have a construct in a Java which help us to execute the lines of code repetitively. Okay. So we use loops in those scenarios. Okay. So let's say there is a block of code which we want to execute multiple times. So instead of writing that code again and again and again, we use loops for the same. Okay. So loops ideally do that work for us. They will be, we have some precondition over there that as per that precondition, the block of code will be repeated. Okay. Okay. Let me declare a main method. Okay. So let's say I want to display the values, I want to print numbers from 1 to, let's say 20. So I have to individually give out statement 20 times, right? Out.println 1, out.println 2, out.println 3. So is it good approach? No, right? What if tomorrow I want to print till 100? That will not be feasible for me, right? So instead of rewriting the code multiple times, we say Java is reusable. We can reuse the code we have written once, right? So here as well, we can take the help of loops to repeat the code, ideally to re-execute the code. Okay, we have three types of loops in Java, which are for, while, and do while. While, do while, and for. So these three types of loops are there. Okay. So the example which I gave, like let's say I want to print the numbers from 1 to 100. Okay. So here my initial value is 1 and I want to go till 100. Okay. So how do we declare a while loop? To declare a while loop, the syntax will be like, let me first show you the syntax. We give some initial value before we declare initial value. Okay. Then we declare while. We use while keyword. Then we have a condition over here. Okay. So this condition will be verified every time. Okay. So we mention the condition over here. So if this condition is satisfied, then only these lines of code will be executed. Okay. So we have some condition over here. Then we have the lines to be executed. Whatever logic you want to give, you can give it over here. Code to execute. Okay. And after that, we have increment or decrement. Okay. If you want to increment the initial value, you can add plus plus to it. Okay. If you want to decrement it, you can decrement it. So, yeah, increment or decrement. So that's how we declare a while loop. We have to give some initial value, then we have to use the keyword while, then we have a condition over here. So somewhere we need to stop the execution, right? So that's why this condition is very, very important. If you miss this condition, your loop will go into infinite state. Okay. So here you need to give that precondition, which will be verified. Okay. Here you have lines of code which you want to execute. Okay, and these lines will only be executed if this condition is true. Okay, then at the end you will either do increment or decrement. So let's say I want to, yeah, let's say I want to print the numbers from 1 to 50. So my initial value will be 1, right? So let me declare one variable. Let's say int a equals to 1. Okay, I want to print the numbers from 1 to 50. So ideally my numbers are starting from 1, so that's why I'm giving initial value as 1 over here. Okay, then I want to go till 50 only. I don't want to go beyond that. So I will give the condition as a should be less than equal to 50, right? Because I want to print the numbers till 50. So this is my condition. Okay. I want to go till 50. So that's why I have given a should be less than equal to 50. Then whatever you want to display, you can give it over here. So let's say num is, and we want to display the value for the number, which is a. Okay. Then after this, you can either increment it or decrement it. So here after 1, I want to print 2, then 3. So it means I want to increment the value. So we will give a plus plus over here. So plus plus stands for increment. Okay. And minus minus is for decrement. Okay, so here we are incrementing the value of a. So initially the a value will be 1. It will first verify the condition whether 1 is less than 50. Yes, it is. So it will display this line of code. It will execute this line of code and it will increment a by 1. So the a value will become 2 now. Again, it will go up. It will verify the condition 2 less than 50. Yes. So this lines of code will be executed. Again, it will go up. Likewise, it will go till 50. For 50 also the line of code will be executed. But once it will become 51, so 51 will ideally not be equal to 50, right? 51 is not less than 50. Not it is also not equal to 50. So the condition is not satisfying in this scenario. So that's why the loop execution will stop here itself and the code will move out of this loop ideally. Okay. So that's how your while loop executes. Okay. We have some initial value, then we have a precondition. Every time before execution, it will verify the condition. If it is true, then only this block of code will be executed. Okay. Then we are just incrementing that value because we want to print from 1 to 50. So after 1, we want 2. So that's why we are incrementing it. Okay. So that's how we declare while loop. Okay. Let's run this code. So see, we got all the numbers from 1 to 50. Okay. Before that, let me once, like someone just said about pre-increment and post-increment. Let's quickly discuss that. So, yeah, let's say if I have a number, let's say int num equals to 8. Then there are like we can use increment operator in two ways. Either we can do plus plus num or we can do num plus plus. So this one is called as a pre-increment and this one is called as a post-increment. So you may be thinking that both should be same, right? What is the difference when you give it before and what's the difference when you give it after the variable? Is there some difference? So yes, there is a difference between both of them. Is anyone aware what's the difference between pre and post? What's the difference between pre-increment and post-increment? Let me quickly print the like let's say uh, incremented value and let's say here let's say we use let's say if we use plus plus a. For now let me just comment these two lines. Let me run this code. uh, and we can use this num variable. We have used a before. Now we can use num variable. So see, the value of num was 8. After I used pre-increment, it incremented it by 1, so it became 9 now. Now let me use post-increment. Instead of pre-increment, I will use post-increment. Okay, let's see what this gives us. So see, instead of making it 9, it gave me 8 only. So it did not incremented the value. But now if I will print the value, let me print the value of num again. Uh, num is let me print the value of num again. So here we are getting it 8 and here we are getting it 9. So why is it so? So in case of there is ideally there is a difference in the behavior. In case of post increment, it initially assigns the value and then it increments it. So over here when this line got executed, the value which got assigned was 8 only. It assigns the value first and then it increments it. So that's why 8 only is assigned for the num variable and 8 only got printed over here. But it increments, right? Later on it increments. So that's why when I printed num value again, I got the incremented value. Okay. So in case of post increment, if you try to access the variable on the same line, you won't get the incremented value. Okay. It assigns first and then it increment. Assigns and increment first and then increments. Okay. But it is not the case in pre-increment. It increments first and then it assigns the value. It increments and assigns the value. So let's say if I have an expression, uh, let's say int answer equals to, if I give something like plus plus num plus num plus 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 num plus plus. Okay, so that's my expression. So what will be the answer of my this expression? You can take a minute to solve it and let me know the answer. What will be the answer of this expression. So as I said, there is single difference between them. In case of a post increment, it assigns the value first, then it increments it. And in case of pre increment, there itself it increments. Okay. So tell me the answer for this expression. 9 plus 8 plus 9. You can add up the values. Okay, let's solve it. So, yeah, over here we have given plus plus num. So it means here itself it will increment, right? We have used pre-increment. So the original value of num was 9. It will become 10 now because we have used pre-increment. Okay, so 10 plus here we have used post increment. So even if there is an increment over here, it will treat it as a 10 only. It won't increment it at this line. Okay, it will be 10 only. But before assigning it to next expression, it will be incremented. It means before I will go to this num, my value would have been incremented. So 10 would have become 11. So when I will go to this value, this will accept num as 11. But again here it's a post increment, so it won't increment it. It will just take it as 11. Okay. So it will be ideally 10 plus 10 plus 11. So I think none of you has given the correct answer. Okay. So see, initial value of numbers 9. Here we have used pre-increment. So 9 will become 10. Okay. Here there is a post increment. So even if there is an increment, the value will be taken as it is. So it will be taken as 10 only. Okay. But before I will move to this num, the value would have been incremented. So 10 would have become 11. Okay. And again, I have a post increment. So I will accept the number as it is, like 11 will only be taken over here. Let's run this code to verify whether our output is correct or not. So yes, we have got the correct output, which is 31. So that's how Java behaves differently. Okay. It handles pre and post increments separately. Have you understood how pre and post works? What's the difference between pre-increment and post-increment? Because lot of time this is a kind of tricky question. Interviewers ask you such kind of tricky questions as well. Okay. So just remember that in case of pre-increment, the value increments there itself. But in case of post-increment, it assigns the value first and then it increments. Okay. That was about pre and post. We have two more loops to study. Let's quickly go through them and we can close for today then. Okay. Like while loop, we have a do while loop as well. Okay. So, how is the syntax of this do while loop? We very first give the initial value similar to the while loop. We have to specify the initial value. Then we have do. Then we have a code block. Then we mention while and we specify the condition. That's how we declare a do while loop. Okay, here we have the lines to be executed and pre and post increment as well. Okay, so you may be thinking that what's the difference between this while and do while loop? So there is a see, in case of a while loop, we were having condition here itself. Right. Before the loop execution, we were verifying the condition. Okay. But that is not the scenario in case of a do while loop. Do while loop first executes the code, then it verifies the condition. Okay. So for first execution, for the very first execution, ideally do not verify any condition. It executes directly. Okay. For first execution, do while loop will not verify any condition, but for further execution, it will surely verify the condition first, then only it will allow the execution of this loop. Okay. So that's the only difference between while and do while loop. While will not at all execute the block of code if the condition is not satisfying. In case of a do while loop, for first execution, none of the condition is verified. But for upcoming, like for second, third, for all other execution, the condition is verified first, then only the block of code will be executed. Okay. So in case of a do while loop, the compiler guarantees that this loop will be executed at least once, even if the condition is true or not true. Right. So do while loop guarantees to be executed at least once. But that is not the scenario in while loop. If condition is not satisfying, while loop will not at all execute. But in case of do while loop, for the first execution, no condition is verified. So that's why it guarantees to be executed at least once. So that's the difference between while and do while. We, yeah, as someone said, for while loop, we also call it as a entry control loop. And for do while loop, we also call it as a exit control loop. Correct. Yeah. So let's say, like there is a scenario where I want to send the message even if the system is down. I want to send first message even if the system is down. So I want to perform that transaction at least once. So in such kind of scenarios, ideally you will use do while loop. Okay, but if there is a requirement like I don't want to execute the code, like I don't want to send the message if the system is down, then I will use while loop. Okay, let's quickly see one example of do while. So yeah, let's say I want to, for now I'm just commenting out the above code so that it won't be repetitively executed. For multi-line comments, we ideally use forward slash asterisk, and wherever it's ended, we use asterisk forward slash. Yeah. So how do we give do while loop? We have to first give the initial value. Let's say I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. So int start equals to, let's say, 1. Okay. Then we will give do over here. Then we have curly braces. Then we specify the condition over here. So I want to go till 10 only. So that's why I will mention that start should be less than equal to 10. Okay. Yeah. And over here, I just want to display the value of start. And I will increment the value after the execution. Okay. So as simple as that, we have declared one variable start. We have assigned it the value as 1. And we have declared do while loop. And we have mentioned the condition that start should be less than equal to 10. Okay. Let me run this code. So see, it printed the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay. So yeah, let me give some value which does not satisfy this condition. Let's say I am giving the value as, let's say if I am giving the value as 100. So is 100 less than 10? Is it less than equal to 10? No, right? But if I will run this code, see, so it printed 100 because for the first execution it did not verify any condition. So that's why it went into the loop and executed the loop. Okay. But later on the 100 value became 101. So that time it verified the condition. 101 is not less than equal to 10. So that's why it did not completed the further executions of the loop. There itself the execution stopped. Okay. So that's the difference between the while and the do while loop. While loop will not execute if the condition is not true, and do while loop will execute at least once, even if the condition is true or not true. Okay, let's quickly cover for loop as well. So for loop ideally has a simpler syntax than this two loops. We simply give for on the one line itself, we specify all the things. We give initialization. After that, we have to give semicolon. Then we specify the condition and we specify increment or decrement. So all these things we have to give on the same line itself. Okay. Then within the curly brackets, we have the block of code. Okay. Yeah, so if I want to execute this logic itself with the help of a for loop, let's say I want to display the numbers from 1 to 20. So how can I do that? I'm just commenting this part as well. Uh, yeah, I want to print the numbers from 1 to 20 with the help of a for loop. So how can we give that? We have to specify for. Then we have to specify three things: initialization, condition, increment, decrement. So in initialization, it means we have to initialize the value. Okay. So yeah. So let me declare a variable first. Let's say variable n. It should start from 1. Okay. It should go till 20. So the condition will be n less than equals to 20. And we will be incrementing this n. Okay, so that's how simple it is. We have initialized the variable, we have added the condition, we have added increment or decrement as well. Okay, let us print this thing. Number is. So it's a kind of simpler way to use loops. Okay, let's run this code. So see, the numbers from 1 to 20 are printed over here. Let's say I want to do reverse thing. Let's say I want to print the numbers from 50 to 1. So how will I do that? My initial value will be 50 in that scenario, right? So n will be equals to 50. Then I have to go till 1. So over here I will specify n should be greater than equals to 1 because I have to go backward now, right? 50, 49, 45. Likewise, I have to go till 1. And over here, I will use decrement. Instead of increment, I will use decrement. Okay. Let's rerun this code. Yeah. So see, we got the numbers from 50 to 1. So that's how we can utilize loops to repeat some logic. Okay. We don't have to rewrite that code every time. We can just use loops instead. Okay. Let's quickly summarize whatever we have covered today. So, very first, we covered operators, we covered arithmetic operators, we covered logical operators, we covered relational operators, right? Yeah. Then we move on to the conditional statements. So, we have three types of conditional statements in Java: if else, if else, if else. If we also called it as a else if ladder. Then we understood what is switch case and why do we need switch case. Okay. Then we understood loops as well. So like whenever we want to repeat some lines of code, whenever we want to repeat some logic, so instead of rewriting it, what we do, we declare a loop so that it will be repeated. And there we have to give some conditions so that the execution will be stop at some point. Okay. Yeah, there is a for each loop as well. Actually, we are like the time has already completed for the sessions. That's why I'm covering it fast. So there is a for each loop as well. I'm just quickly covering that and we can stop over here. Okay. So how do we declare a for each loop? We have to give for. Over here, ideally, we hold the values one by one. Okay. So let's say if I have an array and I want to traverse through that array. Okay, then I have to declare the array first. Let me declare it. So I ideally I want to hold every value from that array. Okay, so let's say there are few values in the array. Okay, I want to traverse through each and every value. I want to go through each and every value. So for that we can use enhance for loop. We also call it as a for each loop. Okay, we declare a variable to hold the values one by one from the group of values. Okay. So here I have an array. I will ideally refer to each and every value individually. Okay. So ideally this num variable will hold the value from this array one by one. Okay, let me just rename it so that it will be more readable. Okay. So this num variable will ideally hold the values one by one. It will first take 6, then it will take 7, then it will take 8. Likewise, it will ideally traverse through each and every value. Okay, so that's how we declare for each loop. We have to declare data type over here. We have to declare one temporary variable which will hold the values one by one from the group of values. Okay. So this variable will ideally hold the values from this array. Okay, then we can do anything with this num variable. Okay, this num variable is holding the values from the array. Okay, for now I just want to print them. Okay, yeah. So that's how we can refer to the group of values as well with the help of enhanced for loop. Okay, yeah. So see, we got each and every value from the array. Okay, we don't have to explicitly use indexes and all. For each loop is making our life easier, right? Yes. Okay. So, yeah, for today, any doubts you have? Do you have any doubts from the topics we have covered today? Okay. Okay, then you can revise the topics we have covered today and you can get back tomorrow as well with your doubts. Okay. We can stop for today then. Thank you. Have a good day.